Michael Zogaib, and I'm a double bass player in Houston, Texas. I am a master's student at Rice University, and I freelance around the area, substituting with the Houston Symphony, and sometimes going all the way up and playing with the Fort Worth Symphony. Now today I'm playing the Shaker melody, which is one of the audition pieces, and there are just a couple things to consider with this excerpt. As always, we want to make sure that we're focusing on our rhythm, our intonation, and our tone. Along with that, we have a couple different dynamics to consider with this excerpt. We have the mezzo forte dynamic, which could be considered just our baseline volume that we play at. And then forte, which means we have to work a little bit harder to play a little bit louder. Also, we have crescendos and diminuendos to consider. Now these are very important because they help with the phrasing, the music making of the excerpt. It helps make the music sound like music and not just a bunch of notes. We also have one tricky spot to consider, and that spot is at measure 9. Measure 9 and measure 10, where we have examples of dotted quarter notes followed by an eighth note. So the dotted quarter note is one quarter note and a dot. That dot represents half the value of the note that it is a part of. So half the value of a quarter note is the eighth note. And that, when you add that dot to the quarter note, you now have a total of 3 eighth notes. So, for example, our quarter note is that, and our eighth note so to get a dotted quarter note, you put 1 eighth note to the quarter note, and it sounds like this. So it's a little bit longer. So let me play it in context, starting at measure 9. So you can hear that it's a bit longer sounding, and when we have a dotted quarter note tied to an eighth note, we have the whole value of a half note, which is 2 beats in this piece of music. The other thing to consider is the fermata in measure 14. Now, a good rule for a fermata is to hold the note at least twice as long as you would normally hold it. And in this case, I even like to hold it for 3. Now, with all that in mind, I will perform that excerpt one more time for you. Last thing I want to talk about is just a couple of practice techniques. Now, the main practice technique is to use the metronome, and we can work at a slow speed, a medium speed, and then our audition speed. So our audition speed is given to us. We have quarter note equals 80, and quarter note equals 80, I'll grab my metronome here, is going to sound like this. Bum, 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 bum. Just right around there. Now, a slow speed, a good rule of thumb is to cut the tempo in half. So that will bring us all the way down to 40, which is quite slow, but it's a really good speed to start with. And I'll just play an excerpt of this at a tempo of 40. slow tempo, we have the opportunity to think about our pitch, about our tone, about our rhythm, and to do that very accurately. Now, a good medium tempo would be to bump it up to 60 beats per minute. With all of this in mind, I wish you the best on a successful audition, and thanks so much. Best of luck.